Most people spend the best years of their lives working 9-to-5 jobs they quietly despise. They wake up tired, stare into screens, survive the day, and call it life. But Charles Bukowski had another word for it: modern slavery. In a world obsessed with productivity and performance, very few ask the question, what does it mean to truly live? We're taught to chase success, climb corporate ladders, and be grateful for jobs that suffocate us. But what if this whole system is a beautifully packaged trap? Bukowski didn't whisper. He roared. He looked at the 9-to-5 grind and said what many of us feel but don't dare admit. How in the hell could a man enjoy being awakened at 6:30 a.m. by an alarm clock and fight traffic to get to a place where, essentially, you made lots of money for somebody else? This is not just a quote. It's a warning. The modern workplace has become a polished prison. Routine is the enemy of the soul, Bukowski might as well have said. And if you feel like you're slowly dying inside, you are not alone. This video is about what happens when you choose your soul over your salary, when you stop surviving and start living. You were not born to be a machine, but somewhere along the way society handed you a script. Go to school, get a job, work hard, retire, die. No questions, no deviations, just obedience in exchange for stability. But Charles Bukowski saw this stability for what it truly is: a quiet coffin lined with paychecks and performance reviews. In Factotum, he wrote, "The problem with the world is that the intelligent people are full of doubts, while the stupid ones are full of confidence. And still, these confident fools run the offices, manage the teams, sign the paychecks. The 9-to-5 job, once seen as a noble way to build a life, has slowly become a soul-crushing routine." Bukowski didn't sugarcoat it. To him, the modern worker wasn't free. He was just a well-dressed slave, trapped not by chains, but by expectations. He famously said, "Slavery was never abolished. It was only extended to include all the colors. And what's worse, this new form of slavery comes with a smile. You're told you're lucky to have a job. You're blessed to be busy. And if you're unhappy, the fault is yours, not the system." But the truth is, we've normalized spiritual decay. Day after day, people commute to jobs they hate, surrounded by screens and small talk, slowly becoming ghosts inside their own bodies. This isn't just Bukowski's view. Philosopher Henry David Thoreau once said, "The mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation. And what is more desperate than spending the majority of your life doing something that kills your joy?" The tragedy is not that people work. The tragedy is that most of them never ask why. Because once you start asking, the machine starts to break. And that's exactly what Bukowski wanted. In a world addicted to productivity, we've lost the ability to ask a deeper question. Is this what I'm meant to be doing? Bukowski had no patience for forced ambition. He didn't believe in chasing success for the sake of appearances. To him, if your actions weren't born from the raw, untamable energy of the soul, then they were hollow, performative, dead on arrival. In his iconic poem, "So You Want to Be a Writer," he writes, "If it doesn't come bursting out of you in spite of everything, don't do it." These words aren't just for poets. They are for anyone stuck in the machinery of obligation, trapped in jobs, roles, and identities that feel artificial. He wasn't saying, "Don't work." He was saying, "Don't betray your inner fire in exchange for comfort." Bukowski believed that true work, whether writing, building, creating, or even simply being, should rise like hunger, not obligation. It should demand to exist, not beg for permission. As he once said, "Find what you love and let it kill you." Now, this isn't reckless advice. This is the philosophy of someone who understood that real living always comes at a cost. But the cost of not living authentically is much higher. There is a kind of death that happens long before the body gives up. It's the death of passion, the death of imagination. It happens slowly, quietly, in offices, in meetings, in routines that go unquestioned for decades. And that, Bukowski believed, was the true tragedy. Most people don't fear death. What they really fear is reaching the end of their life and realizing they never truly lived. The cost of conformity is not just time. It's vitality. It's the silent erosion of your essence, traded bit by bit for approval, salary, and a fleeting sense of security. Bukowski saw this with painful clarity. The difference between a brave man and a coward is that the coward listens to themselves. The brave man doesn't. Most of us are raised to obey, to become pleasing, productive citizens. We learn how to follow rules, climb ladders, and smile while doing it. And somewhere along the way, we forget how to disobey ourselves. The office becomes a coffin, the calendar becomes a cage, and every dream you once had slowly drowns in a sea of postponed maybes. Philosopher Albert Camus described this condition as philosophical suicide, the act of surrendering your freedom to avoid confronting the absurdity of existence. This surrender doesn't happen all at once. It's slow, it's polite, it wears a name tag and attends quarterly meetings. It's waking up at 40 and realizing you no longer recognize yourself. Bukowski didn't romanticize rebellion. He simply believed that to live truthfully in a fake world is a revolutionary act. As he wrote, "Some people never go crazy. What truly horrible lives they must lead." This madness he speaks of is not dysfunction, it's aliveness. It's refusing to be domesticated by expectations. It's choosing to burn with authenticity, even if that means being misunderstood, rejected, or broke. Because the alternative is worse. The alternative is death in disguise, a life spent walking, talking, breathing, but never burning. To live from the soul is to risk everything that isn't truly yours. It means you might lose the job, the approval, the comfort, but you'll find something much rarer: your own voice, your own rhythm, your own fire. As Charles Bukowski put it, you have to die a few times before you can really live. He knew that this kind of living is not easy. It's brutal, raw, and often lonely. But he also knew the alternative, the slow death of the obedient, was far worse. Living from the soul is not about pleasure. It's not about success. It's about honesty, a kind of brutal spiritual integrity that refuses to let fear dictate the terms of your existence. Like Diogenes, the ancient Greek philosopher who rejected wealth and status to live freely, Bukowski stood against the artificial, the polished, the acceptable. Both lived as reminders that freedom has a cost, but so does captivity. To be truly alive, you must be willing to lose everything, except yourself. And yet this message runs against everything we're taught. We're told to compromise, to keep our heads down, to be grateful for the little we're given. But gratitude without choice is not gratitude, it's submission. Bukowski's voice, crude, chaotic, and unfiltered, cuts through all that. He tells us, don't try, just do. Don't fake it, don't force it. If it's real, it will come like a storm. This isn't just creative advice. It's a spiritual blueprint, a call to live from a deeper place, even if that means walking away from everything familiar. Because to live any other way is to exist, not to live. At the heart of Bukowski's brutal honesty lies a paradox. He was a man who spoke endlessly of pain, failure, and filth, and yet underneath it all, he was always pointing towards something sacred, a life that feels real. In one of his final interviews, he said, "We're all going to die, all of us. What a circus. That alone should make us love each other, but it doesn't." For Bukowski, the tragedy was not in death itself, but in the fact that so many people never actually lived before they died. They existed in a kind of comfortable coma, punched the clock, paid the bills, followed the rules, and somehow missed the entire point. His final warning? It was etched into his very gravestone. Just two haunting words. Don't try. This wasn't laziness. It was revolt against pretending, against pushing, forcing, performing. Don't try means stop living someone else's life. Stop chasing what doesn't stir your soul. It means letting go of the false self, the resume version of you, and finding the person who's been buried beneath years of routine. Philosopher Alan Watts once echoed a similar thought. Better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way. And yet, the algorithm of modern life sells us the opposite. stability over soul, security over risk, 100 likes over one moment of deep truth. But Bukowski didn't just talk, he lived it. He quit his job at the post office. He embraced uncertainty, hunger, and rejection. And at nearly 50, after decades of obscurity, he finally published his first novel. He once said, "I wasn't waiting for a muse, I was waiting to be free enough to hear her." In the end, what Bukowski offered wasn't just poetry. It was permission. Permission to feel, to fail, to walk away, to burn. And above all, to live a life that, win or lose, is unmistakably your own. Charles Bukowski's message echoes through generations, a raw, unfiltered call to awaken from the fog of complacency. Don't be like the rest of them, darling. These words are more than just a signature line. They are a challenge, a dare to break free from the soul-crushing cycle of 9-to-5 slavery. In a world obsessed with conformity and appearances, Bukowski invites us to rebel, not with weapons, but with authenticity, not with noise, but with silence, not by surviving, but by truly living. If you find yourself trapped in a job that drains your spirit, remember, you were not made for the cage. The soul demands freedom. Creativity demands freedom. Life demands freedom. And freedom begins the moment you say no to anything that doesn't come from your core. As Bukowski famously wrote, "If it doesn't come bursting out of you in spite of everything, don't do it." So take this as your permission slip. Quit pretending, quit settling, quit surviving, start living, start burning, start being the person you were born to be. Because the only real failure is to live a life not your own. Thank you for watching this deep dive into Charles Bukowski's powerful message about life, work, and the soul. If you feel stuck in the 9-to-5 grind, or you've ever questioned the meaning behind your daily routine, hit that like button. It lets me know you want more content like this. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell so you never miss a video that challenges the status quo and helps you live authentically. Also, share your thoughts in the comments below. What does living from your soul mean to you? Have you ever dared to walk away from something safe but empty? I'd love to hear your story. Remember, life is too short to live someone else's dream. Let's choose freedom. Together. See you in the next video.